we're going to be focusing on 3 different ways to preserve your peppers. The first thing you're going to want to do is clean your peppers. Once your peppers are clean, you can start cutting. Make sure to remove the pepper's membrane as well as seeds. The size of what you cut these into are dependent on your preference and what you plan on using your peppers for. I plan on using mine for fajitas and a potential pizza topping, so I'm going to cut mine the long way into narrow strips as well as cubing these. Now keep in mind, seeds can be saved and dried out for next growing season, as well as saving your membrane and stems for your compost pile. Dry the sliced peppers with a paper towel. Once your peppers are dry, transfer to a flat container. This can be a baking sheet or a large cutting board. This next process is called the flash freeze. We're going to spread these out as much as we can and try to avoid your peppers from touching one another. Place in your deep freeze for 1 to 2 hours. After the peppers are frozen, you may transfer them into the desired container. For increased longevity though, we're going to focus on vacuum sealing. Fill the container with frozen peppers and run the vacuum sealer. If you don't have a vacuum sealer, you can also use a freezer Ziploc bag. Just create a little slit in the side of the bag, put a straw down there, suck the air out, and seal it. And that's it, guys. Just place your peppers in the freezer and enjoy throughout the rest of the year. A popular method of preserving your peppers is pickling. First, clean and sterilize your jars by boiling them in a large pan. Prep your lids by putting them in very hot but not boiling water. Next, combine your pickling ingredients into a pot. Now, technically all you need here is 3/4 cup of vinegar, 3/4 cup of water, and a tablespoon of kosher salt. But if you like your pickles a little bit on the sweet side like I do, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of white sugar and 1 teaspoon of oregano. Boil the combination for 1 to 2 minutes. Cut peppers into 1/4-inch slices. Now, there is no need to remove the membrane or seeds on these unless you really want to. Use canning tongs to remove your jars from the hot pan. If you don't have canning tongs, you can use regular tongs. Just be very careful not to burn yourself. Put as many pepper slices that you can get into a jar. I also like to add 2 to 3 garlic cloves at the top for additional flavor. Pour your hot brine directly into the container until the peppers are completely submerged. Make sure to stir your brine before pouring. You'll want to leave about 1/2 inch from the top of the jar. Use a flat tool. A knife or chopstick works perfectly here to remove any additional air pockets that could be left in the jar. Wipe threads clean in case of splashback. Place hot lids on jars and screw on bands, firmly but not too tightly. Place a wire rack at the bottom of your pan. This will ensure that your jars do not overheat and crack. If you do not have a wire rack, you can use a towel as a substitute. The jar should lay a couple of inches below the water surface. Let the water boil for 10 to 15 minutes. Remove the jars from the water and place on a dish towel. Leave them be for 24 hours as they cool back to room temperature. Check to see if the lids are sealed by pressing firmly in the middle of the lid. There should be no give. If there is, place the container in the fridge and use within the first 2 weeks. Dehydrating your peppers. First, depending on the size, either half or quarter. Typically, super hots and hots are halved, while mild and mediums are quartered. Make sure to remove the pepper's membrane and seeds. Dehydrate for 4 to 5 hours if you want peppers to hold viability and rehydrate later, and cook 12 to 13 hours to grind down into a powder and flake. Place tray in the dehydrator and cook at 125 degrees Fahrenheit. You can go hotter if you have a large amount to do, but a lower temperature will preserve color and flavor. For this video, we're going to be cooking ours at 12 to 13 hours because we want to grind ours down into a powder. You can use a standard coffee grinder, which is what we're going to use today, or you can just use a mortar pestle as well. The best way to save and preserve your pepper powder is to make sure it's sealed in a container in a cool and dark place. That's it, guys.